Good evening. We are going to present Cemex Sab from the class Evaluation Investments by Juan Pablo Briceño, Roberto Frenovello, and Rodrigo Puerto. Next one, please. Well, the Cemex model has three objectives organized in environmental, social, and governance pillars with 19 priorities. In this case, we integrate the environmental case. Cemex is focused to reduce the CO2 and preserving the water in the cement plants because the cement needs a lot of water. The next one, the social, is focused on growing opportunities to employability and improve the communities by offering, as I said, employment. And the governance is basically the most important, which is the ethics, transparency, and customer responsibility. The next one, please. Well, in the latest annual report of 2021, by the end of the year, Cemex had 46,000 employees, which is a lot. As you can see, is the second biggest business in Mexico by employees, 63 cement plants and over 1,000 plants of mixed concrete. By the end of the year 2021 versus Cemex Sab 2020, we had a better EBITDA by 18%. The net sales of cement increased by 14.5%. The capex, as we're gonna see later in the class, was slightly bigger with a 15% increase, and debt decreased a lot, over 20%. And the credit rating is double B's. The next one, please. Well, the management and CEO and all the chairmans, it's kind of complicated because the year 2022 was actually disappointing because, as you can see in the graphic, the volume have been lower and going lower over the quarters. I only demonstrate the Q3, but it's actually pretty sad what we're seeing because the CEO have made a huge mistake by increasing the price of the cement, making a new gap to other rivals such as Cementos Fortaleza and Cruz Azul, which are another cement businesses. And the CEO doesn't really care about this, and they are just increasing the price, inflation, and everything. And the Mexican consumer in this case and the Latin American consumers are realizing there is no such difference between Cemex cement and Holcim cement. But I believe that in the next year, 2023, and in the forecast we're going to see with our next partner, Juan Pablo, we expect a better result. Next one, please.
Okay, for the second part of this project, I'm going to talk about some information obtained by the pest analysis and the market analysis. Okay, to begin with, Cemex has a lot of opportunities thanks to its prestige that has been built since the last century. They are a very old company that keeps improving their market and they are constantly moving forward. Cemex has a big chance of taking advantage of the current constructions that are taking place in Mexico and in Latin America. They have provided in the past for very big constructions like the stadiums in Brazil 2014 and for the Audi plant in Germany. So Mexico is their main market, and Mexico has a lot going on in here, but we mainly focus right now on opportunities. And the reputation they have built during the past is clearly benefiting them, even though they increased the price and they suffered a big letdown because expectations were much more higher than they resulted, as my previous partner said, Rodrigo. So now, what are the threats they are facing? Well, government is unstable for many multinational companies. They don't know what's going to happen next, ordered by the government. So it's not a very interesting market to receive investment or even to do that investment. The second one we all know is insecurity. Many plants can be affected by damaging the property or even the employees. They fear to go even to the street because the situation is very, very bad. And corruption is another problem they are facing because if you want to move forward and then you find people that can give you what you want, but you need to pay them and you don't want to because it's not aligned with the values of the company, you will have very, very much problems. Okay, now moving forward to the industry dynamics. We find that in economics, Cemex has a big opportunity of business in South America. They have a very well built prestige, mainly as previous I said, the providing materials for the construction of the stadiums of the Brazil 2014 World Cup. The COVID-19 left a lot of bad things, but home office is one of the best things that it left. So Cemex can save some money from infrastructure and take advantage of home office because it increases the employees' productivity. And finally, Latin America is a growing market. Even though there are some turbulence right now, many left governments are being elected, but they still very open to other countries. And Mexico has a good position to go into South America. So Cemex can take advantage of this easily. They have the infrastructure, they operate in over 50 countries, so it's proven that it's a very capable company. And finally, the competitive advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of Cemex, as I said, they have an integrated market. So overall, they have the capacity and the sourcing to get what they need to produce what the market demands. Their market position, as I said, they are over a century old and they have built very good image, not only in Mexico, but in the whole world. And they have financial stability. Their debt reduced 22% from 2020 to 2021. And the thing is going well in that aspect. So they have the capital they need to move into other countries, even if it is a country similar to Mexico or a developed country. They need to see what they need next, if they need a developed market or a nation underdeveloped. And the disadvantages, the main one is that they depend too much on Mexico. They need to diversify. The Mexican market represents over a third of their market store, and they need to diversify because if something happens in Mexico, the company will be a very, very bad risk. So spreading the operations is the best thing they can do to like counter this disadvantage.
And now we will talk about Cemex financial statements. And next, please. So the historical assumptions. As we can see, Cemex in the year 2019, they had a net income of 0.7%, which was pretty good considering that Cemex was investing a lot of money into expanding into new countries like Mexico and a lot of different areas that haven't been experimented before. But in the year 2020, as it was mentioned before by my partner Roberto, we can see that Cemex had a decrease and negative numbers in the net income and in the EBIT margin. This was because of the well-known pandemic that caused this. In the year 2021, Cemex invested a lot of money into the home office ambit because nowadays companies are trying to be more, how do you say? They're trying to be more open-minded to say that. And as we can see, the total operation expenses of the company are decreasing comparing it to the 2020 year. And the tax rate is 15%, which is pretty good compared to the 2019 one. And the net income is getting a lot better. And we forecast in the next 5 years that the company will increase their sales growth by 6%. This is because the company is still recovering from the year 2020 and they are still growing bit by bit. In the total operation expense, we think that the company could decrease a lot in operation expenses because this is a big part of Cemex expenses. As we can see, we expect the EBITDA margin to be increased compared to the 2019 year. And in the net income, we expect the Cemex financial statements to be increasing 2% each year in order to have a better income. Next, please. Income statement forecast. In this income statement forecast, we can see that Cemex throughout the years, they have been very volatile in each year because they invest a lot in these new markets that are opening. So we expect Cemex to be increasing 1,000, 2,000 each year in 2022 and 2023, because as we say, Cemex is a company that is still growing, still investing a lot and having a lot of debt. So we expect to grow not that big. In the total operation expense, as we said before, we expect Cemex to decrease this operating expense because it is very high compared to the total revenue. So this is the main reason we think Cemex is not having a lot of profit. We expect the EBIT to grow a lot by decreasing the operating expense. And the net income, we expect to grow a lot, but we know that Cemex is a company that is still investing and buying things. So we don't think in the cash flow they will have a lot of money because many of this income will invest in other things. And next, please. The free cash flow. As we mentioned before, Cemex is a company that is investing. It doesn't stop. So we expect the EBIT to be decreasing instead of increasing. And this is not bad as many people expect. We say that the EBIT is going to decrease because they will have expenses like if, open in a new country or enter a new market, many stuff. So you can see in 2022, 2023, 2024, the free cash flow of the firm will be less and less and less. But we expect that in one point, this will have a boom because they will stop investing and all this money that they will be spending in this new stuff will become a revenue that will have a lot of income. Next, please. The WACC. Here we can see the calculation of the cost of equity. And we can see that the beta of the company is pretty good compared to the market because it's very close to 1. So it is not a very risky investment to buy a share of Cemex. And the cost of equity is 14.76%. This means that the, the investments of the company are very profitable compared to the cost of them. And we see that in the WACC, the capital structure, Cemex, as mentioned before, they have a lot of debt because they still invest a lot of money in a lot of stuff. But nowadays they are trying to decrease that debt and they are spending a lot of money on it. But in the future, we think that the equity of Pemex will be very big compared to the debt. Next, please. The share price. Here we calculated the shares outstanding of Pemex, and we see it is 4,087.79. And we can see the share price of Cemex is 8.79. This is in pesos. And here is a graph of Cemex shares price in the last 10 years. So we can see that there have been a lot of splits in Cemex shares price because it's a growing company. People are investing more on it, so shares are getting fewer and fewer. And we can see it's a very volatile share that is always going up and down, up and down. And we expect now that the price is going up because of the investment, and now that the construction area is getting very big. Next, please. The net present value and the IRR. Here we have the process to get the IRR, which got 16.22%. And we can see the forecast period of the IRR. As we mentioned before, we think that Cemex is going to be decreasing its cash flow. So this affects directly the TIR because Cemex will be spending a lot of money in investings, but in some years, for example, 2026 could be a year, they will get a lot of income by far comparing to the previous years. Next, please. The intrinsic value of the company. We calculated the intrinsic value of the company by getting the NPV, which we calculated before, plus the cash and less the debt. This gives us a total result of $86,006 million. This is quite a lot in this industry, which speaks very good of the financial statements of the company because it's a very big market that people are getting in, but Cemex is getting a lot of investment, which is making them bigger than the other companies. We can see the equity value per each share, which is 5.94, which is pretty good compared to the 8.95, I think it was. That is the real price of the 8.79, that it was the real price of the share price. People are expecting it to go up and invest this risk, that is the difference. So the company will still be growing, even though they have negative numbers in the free cash flow. Next, please. The recommendations to the company. Our recommendations to Cemex is to 3 main points. Firstly, to decrease operational expenses because the EBIT is pretty low compared to the industry. So we think they could get a lot of income and they could decrease a lot of operational expenses by buying other companies or stuff like that. The second point is to pay debt because Cemex in 2020 and 2021 was composed of almost 50% debt compared to the capital, to the equity. So we think they should pay the debt that they have now and stop getting many loans from the banks so they can get positive numbers and keep investing. And the third point, as we mentioned, is keep investing because this market that Cemex is in, they are still growing and they're getting a lot of competitors in this market. And especially in US and Mexico, the construction area and market is getting very big and it's still growing. It's the biggest revenue stream of a lot of companies. So we think Cemex should keep investing, keep buying companies, keep expanding to a lot of countries, and keep what they are doing now. They are a very big company, and they should keep doing what they do. So this is it, and thanks for everything.